Hello everybody, welcome to my channel and welcome to my Monday night live channeling where I do free channeling for about an hour. Tonight I would like to, I'm not going to change the format too much, but what I'd like to do tonight is really just whoever's typing in pink hearts and you can ask who you want me to channel and you can ask your questions. I'm going to not put a limit on how many people will answer questions for tonight. But please, if you feel prompted to not only ask personal questions, but also ask questions for the collective. Okay, so whichever you want to do, if you want a personal question, that's absolutely fine. And if you want to ask a question for the collective, that's fine. We're going to mix and match it tonight and just do the questions as they come through. And and then we'll cut off after about an hour. And Anthony is here. He's my hubby with me every single Monday night. And I've just got to brag a little bit. Been married 15 years. It was Thursday, right? Yeah, 1st of September. We married 15 years. And we've definitely been growing together and going through a lot. So Anthony helps me on Monday nights. He reads the questions in the live chat. And so that I can stay in trance and focus on the channeling. And he just kind of organizes everything, makes sure everything comes through the way it's supposed to. Hello, Mello, welcome. Yes, hello, right back at you, Mello. Hello to you two lovebirds too. Thank you very much. I feel so blessed by my community. I have really, really amazing people in this community, and the community keeps growing. And, that's a good thing because we need unity and we need to share our common experiences and learn and grow from each other, teach. It's always a thing of, there's this thing of, wherever you may be I always think of it as like a ladder. We're all in like a kind of a ladder. And wherever you may be on the ladder, there's always someone who's busy teaching you, and there's always someone that you're busy teaching. And that's what's wonderful about community, when we're all sharing and, giving together. And before we start taking questions, hi, Maria. Welcome. Beautiful souls. I have actually one soul. So I've got a deck of cards here. I just want to draw one card, and it's almost like I just feel like drawing a card, like almost wanting to set the intention for tonight. Hi, Daniel. Welcome. So I just really want to set the intention. Oh, Anthony wants to be on the sideline. He doesn't like being on camera.
Yes. Thank you.
So he's going to go off to the side, and you're just going to hear this voice.
I'm a radio personality.
So he'll be over there doing the questions, and there we go. Yeah. You'll see his arm every now and then. Okay, so I've got this deck. This is one of my favorite decks. It's called the Sacred Creator Oracle deck by Chris Ann. I have to be honest, I don't know who that is, but it's a really stunning deck. I just want to draw a card and get a sort of an intention for tonight's channeling session. Kind of have to lift it up so you can see that I'm shuffling and not cheating or anything. It's just a bit trickier this way. What do we need to focus on tonight? One more. One more. That's it. There it is. Okay, what have we got? Stop, drop, and ground. Don't you just love this card? Okay, so I think the message is pretty clear. So whatever's going on for you in your life right now, me included, so all of us included, whatever's going on in your life right now, grounding is very much needed right now. And this is a message that's actually been coming through quite a bit for numerous people. And grounding is just really allowing yourself to be fully in your body and connected to the earth. Fully in your body so that you're not trying to escape your life and avoid it. That's very much part of the integration right now. So we are really going through transcendence, and earth is going through transcendence. And the Schumann resonance has been going through a change, and the frequencies has been raised. So there's a lot that's been lifted. So I am expecting that full disclosure event to be happening anytime now. So there's already actually a lot of information out there about what's really going on with governments, with extraterrestrials, with the reality that's been hidden from people. And I really feel like that full disclosure, where more and more people accept it as truth, is like it's going to be out in the media, that kind of thing. It's coming near. And as we're going through all these changes where all the frequencies are being raised, there's more and more contact that's being made from outside, and we're all feeling like changes. It's very important to keep your frequencies raised and stay grounded. And grounding is a very, very big part of raising frequencies. Huge part. If you're not grounded properly, you're not fully in your body, you're not fully accepting and embracing the experience here on earth, then you are not, then you're going to struggle with integration. You're really going to struggle to integrate fifth dimension and third dimension. So, yeah. So there's a very, very clear message. Stop, drop, and ground. There we go. Love that. Okay. All right. Okay. He's reminding me that I need my jewelry and stuff. So yeah. Okay, so who's up first?
Mellow. What's he channel Bashar?
Bashar. I've never channeled Bashar before.
What? Sassani? Is that right?
Where are we? Bashar, the Essassani. Yeah, he's from the Essassani race.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that the Bashar we know of?
That's the Bashar, yes. That
Okay.
what's that other channeler? He speaks mainly to Bashar. He's not the only one. There's a few individuals that speak to Bashar, but I can't remember. But there's a specific channeler whose head is popping up, whose face is popping up in my head. He's been channeling Bashar for about 30 years or something. Is it more already?
Probably, I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm just putting on my Moldavite, aquamarine, over here.
Daryl, that's.
Daryl, thank you. Thanks, Melo. And I'm putting on my pentagram for the elements and the soul and the shape of one of the most successful, what's it called? Bipedals, 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. And I'm putting on my Larimar. I'm sure those of you that see me regularly see I'm almost always wearing the same crystals, and that's because of the energy that is needed. And I always have on my red jasper. I'm very chatty tonight, but I'm feeling very positive and very good. So, okay, Bashar. I've never spoken to Bashar. I've never spoken to an Essassani before that I know of. Okay. I'm really feeling a tall white energy as well. Maybe it's just one of my own guides that's here with me. But yeah, she's also here. Bashar, you're welcome to come through and speak to the collective here tonight that is on this cyberspace here in this. It doesn't really matter. This is a space between spaces. So please come through and speak to this collective. You're welcome. If you feel right to do so, your highest, purest energy. Thank you. This is a very big energy. Very, yeah. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. I'm always loving conversations with humans. You're my favorite.
Fantastic. Okay, we've got some questions tonight. So the first one is, could you maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself, just so that we understand who you are and where you're from?
Okay. So as you know, I am Essassani. I am from your galaxy, although I'm a multidimensional being, which means I don't always stay in this galaxy. And I'm pretty happy to stay grounded, if we can call it that, for most of the time. I don't travel a whole lot in terms of physical travel on spaceships. However, I do that sometimes. It's not to say I never do it, but I do prefer. I also don't use technology as much. I prefer to use higher dimensional, natural, multidimensional travel, if I can put it that way. It might be a little bit hard for some of you to understand, but I have the ability to manipulate space and time to go where I need to go. I am very old. To your way of thinking or your linear timeline, you could think of me as hundreds of thousands of years old, actually. Although that's kind of subjective. And yes, I have learned a lot of skills and have a huge interest in humanity, especially the higher minds and channelers, those individuals who raise the frequencies and who have been selected. I have selected certain people to talk through, as have many other high dimensional beings that speak to certain people who they have selected. And so I prefer working in the higher planes, and also helping and assisting those channelers in their lives as well, helping them to manifest things and helping them to raise their vibrations more and heal them. So yes, I prefer to work in that way, through these people who have a specific set of skills and abilities, to speak to those who I need to reach. And my aim is mainly to, not just my aim, but many others that are here in my collective, in my group of friends and people that I connect with. You can almost think of us as a kind of a society, though it's not too rigid. It's more just a very highly spiritual group of people. And most of our race is very highly spiritual. Of course, you get all kinds of people, but most of us are very highly developed with very high frequencies, and we have learned to manipulate energy and space-time, well, not always with using technology. There are those of my race that are more technically inclined. Just like on Earth, you will have people that have got many different skill sets and have different interests. So there are definitely those that are technologically inclined and want to enhance technology, but usually there's a huge spiritual or high frequency resonance component. So yes.
Great, thank you. We have a specific question for you. Mela would like to know, how does a person's name affect their life path?
That is a really good question. I love that question. Thank you for that question. Oh, I love the souls in this group. This is good. Yes. So it is interesting how names are chosen. Sometimes it seems like parents, if you can think about it that way, almost don't care what they call their children, if you know what I mean. And sometimes they like agonize over it, and sometimes they even wonder if they made the right decision. And sometimes the children don't like their names. So yes, it can affect, but the inspiration's often given for the name. And as you know, maths is a universal language, and a name is very much linked, especially for humanities, very much linked to numerology and mathematical equations, frequencies, because it's spoken. So there's many different layers to names on the earth plane. There are some individuals who have been named with names that perhaps they don't love, because it also reflects certain shadow parts of themselves, or certain parts of themselves that they need to clear and work on and heal. So that's why not everybody's always going to be happy with their name. They feel like they don't resonate with that name because they want to change that resonance to what their true soul, their true higher self is. And some are resistant to their true higher self, so that might resonate with their higher selves, but it doesn't resonate with them because they're wounded and they don't want to face that. So yes, it affects, it definitely gives a little bit of an indication of, for let's say about 70% of the time, it gives a little bit of an indication of the person's true personality and true soul. So like Michelle, her name means who is like God. And as many of you probably know and understand, that we all come from source, and she's very much got a very good connection with source energy, and has remembered where she comes from, and understands that she is a light being in human form. And her name is very apt for her life purpose. Her surname, on the other hand, is a completely different story. And of course, surnames, so one does want to look at the whole name, but that can change. That last name part can change. So all the different names one's given. And it's interesting, she hasn't been given any middle names. So her name's almost simplified in a way. So yes, sometimes the last name has got more to do with earthly lineage, the earthly, it's like connection with generational curses and bloodlines, and also negative, not only negative aspects, but positive aspects of that family or family line. So there's a connection. And then, as I said, with the numerology, the maths, just as the date of birth actually has very, very accurate information, because it's all mathematical. Remember, people are kind of like programs. People are kind of like, it's kind of like your vessel is a certain piece of hardware, and you've got different smaller hardware inside the vessel. And then, of course, there's the energetic part, so the power, which comes from source energy. And then there's programs that are run. There's the prime directive of the soul, and there's also that connection of where did the soul come from, and that will often have to do, just like in astrology, what planets that person's connected with. So it's all interconnected, it's all interwoven. Yeah, if you'd like me to be a little bit more specific about any part of that, please let me know.
Okay, let's see if Mila comes back.
That was a great question.
I think while we wait for Mila to maybe come back with something else, do you perhaps have a general message for this collective today?
A lot of you may be feeling a little bit down and a little bit, as if you are just being thrown some curveballs, getting a few nasty surprises maybe at the moment, or perhaps things that are just not quite fitting into place the way you'd like it to. And I'd like to encourage you to not let that get you down. Remember to have fun. Remember to have fun. Remember to play. This time, this period, especially in this linear timeline over the next 4 years, really is a time where humanity is just going to shoot up in many different ways, spiritually, emotionally, health-wise. Just it's going to shoot up. There's going to be so many changes happening, and it can be a little bit disorientating. It can be quite hard to integrate all of that. But it's so important for you to understand that at this time, it is a time of choosing what you want. Because as all these changes are coming at you, you might just be trying to cope. And that's actually not what you need to focus on. You need to just let go of all that. Let go of the outcome. Stop getting attached to the outcome of all the stuff that's being thrown at you. Let's put it that way. Don't be distracted by all the things that happen as you're integrating. Because as you integrate, there's often an up to it. Your frequencies are raised, or things are moving, shifting energetically, or at a karmic level. And then in the physical level, it goes boom, it just goes, crashes down. And those are when you feel low and so on, because it's the stuff that's coming up. It's the stuff that needs to be dealt with. It's coming up, whether it's physical or mental or emotional. All the stuff's coming up because of the shift that's happened. So it's coming out so that you can let go of it. So if you are just trying to cope and you're just trying to manage it and you're just, putting out fires, you're not actually going to allow yourself to have an easy time of it. You're going to extend your suffering, and it will be very painful. So it's important to let go of all the stuff that's thrown at you at the moment and just kind of start playing the game, just having a little bit more fun, and become a little bit more experimental, a little bit more, well, let's see what happens, and accepting of things that happen, not just letting it get you down, but just sort of accepting it and saying, and when lower things come up, just go, okay, I got you, and then you always have to ask yourself, is this actually serving me in some way? And if it's not serving you, as it will be 9 times out of 10, because that's the reason it's coming up, you can just say, well, I don't need this anymore. I don't need this sickness, or I don't need this lack. I don't need this, whatever it is. And then just let it go. Let it go, just let it float away on a little paper boat going down the river, and it can sink, and, Earth can neutralize that energy. So just have fun with it. And that's why I use the paper boat analogy, because as children, well, maybe not today's children, I'm not sure, but as children, so many of you folded little paper boats and watched it go around in a little puddle of water or something. And eventually it kind of sinks down, doesn't it? But it was fun, wasn't it? And that's the point. Have fun. Whatever is happening, see the fun side, see the positive side, see the lighter side. Allow yourself to do that. Don't be so serious all the time. I hope that helps, because that's important, raising your frequencies.
Great, thank you very much. Mela also said thank you for the previous question.
Welcome.
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. I think I can answer the next person's question too.
Okay, that's fine. So Maria would like to know, what message does she need to know? I mean, does she need to hear today?
Okay, so the message I just shared for the collective is very, very apt for you right now, Maria. But I'm also going to add something for you. And that is just to allow yourself to let go of the control a little bit. Let go of the control and just become easy. Just flow. Just allow yourself to flow. There's this analogy of if you compare a salmon and a koi, a salmon will swim upstream, work really hard, and that's their purpose. They need to do that, and that's fine. But in terms of an analogy for you as a person, that's not what you want. You do not want to be swimming upstream and struggling and suffering, and that's not your goal. Your goal is to be more like the koi, who just kind of goes with the currents, and if there's a stone coming around, goes around the stone or boulder or whatever the obstacle may be. Because in realizing when that obstacle comes up, when that challenge comes up, go not to get thrown by it and go, oh no, what must I do? And I'm going to struggle against this rock until I get through it or over it or whatever. No, that's not how you do it. You go, hang on, there must be another path. This is clearly not the path. Let's go around this way or this way. But let's just flow. So just being open, just being relaxed, just being a little bit more at ease, and just letting go of the control. And that is going to really serve you at this time, and really just getting into the place where you're trusting your higher self a lot more and trusting the higher guidance that's coming through for you.
Okay, so she says, right now I'm very stressed about being behind in school and with my sleep schedule, but how do I let go of these things?
So it's all the activity up here that is keeping you trapped there. Very important to do the exercises or activities that help you to let that go. So breathing, and sometimes just having fun, like singing, especially if you're singing, allowing yourself to sing light language or sing just toning, those frequencies that you're singing, that you're allowing to come through, will actually clear and take away all those thoughts. So really clear your mind of all that stuff. So singing is going to help you. Perhaps something like coloring in, something that's just, or something that just helps you to like organize your thoughts and realize that which thoughts serve and which thoughts doesn't. And as you do that, you'll be able to fall asleep at night. You're focusing on your breath. Good in, bad out, just like Michelle taught you. So just allowing yourself to kind of, it's kind of an attitude. You have to go, well, is this really so important? Why is it so important? Is it important in the bigger scheme of things? Is it important in the bigger scheme of your life? Is it going to be the end of the world? No, just be easy. Just be easy. And one of the reasons you fell behind is because you worried about it so much. Okay? So kind of just going, well, what's the worst that can happen? Okay? And also communicate. Communicate with your teachers. Tell them that you're having a hard time. Okay? Ask for help. Tell them that it's not easy for you. There's no shame in it. None whatsoever. You will get the support that you need. But you have to speak up. And just be easy about it. Just, it's just a game. Life is a game. And yes, that does not mean you mustn't care at all. You mustn't do anything, and you mustn't do things to get your goals. Of course you must, but there must be a healthy balance. And your balance is very much just on the one side, so serious. So really allow yourself to rest and let go of things and have a bit of fun, and just realize not everything is so serious. Not everything has to be taken so seriously. So it's really just a sort of a mental shift, an attitude shift.
Okay, she's got another question. Thank you. Okay, she says, last question, because I'm very anxious about my time management and long distances. I think I have OCD, so how can I tackle my anxiety about this?
You know, the biggest reason people have OCD is because they want to control everything and they want to be perfect. So the sooner you realize that there's nothing perfect, you can't make anything perfect. Okay? Things get messy. That's okay. Have fun with the mess. When do kids have the most fun? When they get messy. So get messy. Play. It's okay. So if you can accept that, you know, there's something that goes with perfection and OCD, and that is like, so how often you don't get things done because you're like, I have to do this first, and then I have to do that, and then I have to do that. It has to be in this pattern. Otherwise, it's not going to be perfect. And then it's going to be ruined. And then I'm not going to. Do you see? Does that serve you? No, it doesn't. So rather go, you know what? I'm just going to get it done. My homework or my assignment or whatever might not be perfect, but I'm just going to start. I don't care how messy it is. I'm just going to have fun with it. And if it's not perfect, so what? Who cares? And as soon as you let go in that sense, it's going to be much easier for you, and you probably will actually do a better job, and you will actually get it done. Getting it done and doing it with a lighter energy and a lighter heart is going to be much better than the other process that you're following. That process is not serving you. So it's really a little bit of training your brain and training yourself to just listen to your heart and not worry so much.
Okay, thank you. You can perhaps answer Daniel's question too, because he just wants a message. Before we do that, White Rabbit, that's Maria, says, thank you all so much. You really need this today. So thank you.
You are so welcome, and you're such a special soul. Don't yes, you're a special show too. You're a really special soul. Don't forget why you came here. Why did you come to this earth plane? Was it to be a perfect student? I don't think so. Okay? Just have fun. You're welcome.
So Daniel said he just wanted a message for him from anyone. So perhaps you could give him a message.
Yes, Daniel. Another beautiful soul, another beautiful light being. Okay, so Daniel, kind of in a similar boat, not exactly the same, but also so serious, you know. Daniel, it will really serve you to just get out a little bit. Get out a little bit. Go to the beach and you know, walk on the beach. Get out in nature. And I know you've been looking at exercising more in nature and all of that. That's great, and you should definitely pursue that. But also just get out and have some fun, you know, whatever that may be for you. Just getting out there. That's really going to serve you the most at this stage. And in doing that, you will, when you are out, just allowing your heart to open, your soul to open up to opportunities, and just allowing yourself to see whatever beauty is around you and whatever whimsical playfulness is around you. And allowing yourself in nature, especially, to open up your crown and start connecting. Ground yourself while you're there, but consciously connecting with the energies that's there. You will start picking up all those energies. You're going to start picking up the nature sprites. You're going to pick up the fey creatures. You're going to pick up higher dimensional beings that's around you all the time, and allowing yourself to communicate with them more. So this will only happen if you start lightening up in that sense, like allowing yourself to open up and letting it come through, allowing yourself to really just have fun with them as well, and having fun conversations, not only serious conversations. It's, of course, it's important to know what to work on, and the serious stuff is important, but there's balance as well. So it's important to get a bit more balance and have a bit more fun, asking them who they are and what they're about, and learning more about the multiverse, and also what's around you in 5D. There's so many entities in your field who wants to play with you and have fun with you. So they're right there, and you just have to kind of get into a more balanced place and ground yourself and open yourself. Only once you're really truly grounded and accepting and coming in, you will be able to raise your frequencies, even though you know you are quite a high vibrational being, but being in your body, fully in your body, and then it will be able to get a clearer connection, to feel that connection more, and to really get to the frequencies of that fifth dimensional plane. I hope that makes sense.
Great, thank you. I don't see other questions from other people, but I can ask some questions while we wait for more questions.
Great.
So I want to know from you, do you have any specific skills or knowledge that you excel in, I guess, is the question I'm asking for. Is there anything specific that you know about more than others, maybe?
Well, I'm a really great communicator. And I really like having a bit of fun. So I have a way, my energy, because I've chosen to be, you Earth people might call it charismatic. And of course, I'm a little bit tongue-in-cheek. So that kind of energy where I try and make people feel comfortable, and I try to, but that's just who I am. So I guess you could call that a skill, but that has served me very well. And of course, I am very good at manipulating energy and time space. And I'm very good at communication, as I said. It's not only communication through, but giving messages. Even for those that are not channeling directly and putting it out there, I am able to help put thoughts into individuals' heads who are ready for those thoughts, who are ready to receive them. And I might even be that one that's telling you to just have a little bit of fun. That might be me. So yes, that communication is one of my top priorities. And this might surprise you, but I actually do like working with the ancients. Yeah, so Archangel Gabriel specifically is also very much an energy I work with quite a lot. Because Archangel Gabriel also taught me a lot about communication and all of that. But of course, I have, there are, as I said, even for me, there's always someone who's teaching me and I'm teaching others. So I may be much higher vibrational, more advanced than you are at this stage. And I've learned a whole lot more about what it means to come from where you are and to get to where I am. So I've taken that journey, and I am fully aware of that journey. And as I said, I've lived for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So I'm very much aware of all of that and able to access all of my information. So, yeah.
Great, thank you. So we've got a question from someone new. Elise is asking if we can have guidance around attracting abundance.
Elise, you know, that's a very popular question. And yes, for you specifically. So I'll give you a little rundown about what is important with abundance for everybody, so that everybody in the collective understands what's important about abundance. And then I'm going to speak about something specifically with you, Elise, that needs to be looked at, which will hopefully help you. Okay. So the first most important thing about abundance is to clear your thoughts, clear your mind. Okay. And if you have any blockages, whether they are in any of your layers, emotional, mental, physical, energetic. And of course, if you really want to get rid of all of them all at once, in that karmic layer, because that's really where the problems lie, is when the lifetime of your soul has gone through many things. And on Earth, the reincarnation happens at such a rapid rate. Human beings don't live very long compared to many, many other races in the universe and the multiverse. So, and it's partly due to, this matrix, this field that you're in. That's part of what happens. And there's sort of a, coming back, and it's quite hard in that way. So specifically for humans, and specifically for you, Elise, many humans are running programs that are causing blockages in their field, and what they're trying to put out there is not what they're getting back. So even if you're setting the best intentions and you do the best visions and you do the, and you really like spending like an hour every day doing everything you're supposed to, you might not be able to get that back if you're not going to clear those blockages. Okay. So that being said, it's also very, very, very important to raise your frequencies. It's very important to get in touch with your higher self, raise your frequencies, because as soon as you are in alignment with your higher self and you're matching up with your higher self's energy, and obviously if that energy is clear, there's no blockages, then you are going to manifest like crazy. And as you can probably also see, sometimes what you think you need or want from a 3D perspective is not necessarily what's going to be in true alignment with your soul. And the more blockages you clear, the clearer you will be able to discern what it is that will be in alignment with your soul. So now, this is not to say that you won't get abundance, but maybe the way that you set that intention, maybe the way that you ask for things, maybe seeing the bigger picture is going to actually help you to get the abundance. I will take this as an example. Let's say that you have a lot of emotional blockages because of a lot of trauma that you've experienced. These emotional blockages, and perhaps a lot of them are in that lack mentality or lack. The emotions come from lack. It's a pattern that's playing out, and no matter how hard you work on it, this lack keeps showing up in many different ways, not only with money, lack in many things. It really, it comes from an emotional place, which is connected to your soul, and then it's going to play out in your thoughts. Okay. So even though you are trying to focus on a specific thing, like let's say, I want to manifest $1 million. Okay, well, you're not going to get that $1 million if you keep in your subconscious and in your soul, you keep believing, because it's what you believe. So that's the next step. If you keep believing that you don't actually deserve it, and that lack is the only way you can truly be spiritual, for example. Spiritual people can't be rich, for example. So there's all those kind of beliefs. So the program is really much linked to beliefs. So if you don't believe that you deserve it, or you can't see yourself actually having that life, and you can't get yourself excited about it because you don't really believe that it can happen for you, you can't manifest it. It's just impossible. It's science. Okay, so you have to get the way you match up that frequency. You align with your higher self, you raise your frequencies, you work on raising your frequencies in different ways: emotional, mental, physical, and energetic. Okay, you have to work at it in the physical sense, in the 3D sense, and you've got to work on it in a spiritual sense. And if you are having, for example, emotional or mental problems, go see someone, talk to someone, get some therapy. Whatever the case may be, work on the issues that you're having. Work on yourself. And then as you do that, it will start helping you clear. And then when you're in alignment and you just keep raising those frequencies, as you clear those programs, your belief and you're matching up with your higher self, because you'll start remembering who you are. You'll start remembering your purpose. You'll start remembering your mission. And then you'll start wanting certain things. You will start believing that you deserve certain things. And then, of course, once you're in that energy where you can raise your vibration to 5D, you're feeling good about yourself, you're starting to love yourself, and really, really resonating with who you really are and being happy with that, then you can start playing. Then you can start playing. Then you're in that void, you're in that 0 point energy field. Opening up your heart is very important. Getting your chakras aligned and balanced and cleared is very important. But then you can start playing. You can start playing because you know it doesn't have to be so serious. So play with it. Ooh, what if? What if I can get a lovely meal from my favorite restaurant this week? What if somebody just says, oh, I want to take you out for dinner? Why not? It could happen. You see? And then you imagine yourself there and you feel the feelings. And you're like, oh, I love this. I can't wait for this to happen. Okay. And of course, that gratitude is part of that. You know these steps. So yeah, but if you don't clear your blockages, if you don't raise your vibration, not going to get there. Okay. And one of the ways to raise your vibration, and that's why the gratitude is important, is gratitude. Being thankful not only for what you have physically, but being thankful for you. So do you see how loving yourself, the only way you're going to love yourself is by getting to know your higher self. Trust me. Trust me. Okay. So it's all kind of connected. You see how all those different points kind of connect. It's kind of in a circle. It's not like a linear thing.
Great, thank you. You said you would speak specifically to Elise about something?
Yes, the blockages. I did say.
Okay, is that the blockages? Okay.
Yeah, so she's got some blockages, some programs that are running that needs to be cleared for her to clear the way to get what she's shining out to come back. There's a clear picture coming back.
Great, thank you. All right. She says thank you.
You're most welcome.
Okay, then Melo has got a question. He says thank you very much, and his question is, what are some of my galactic history highlights and why I came to Earth?
Okay, Melo, you came for the experience. As much as you like being out there and you are a cosmic soul, you also enjoy many facets of Earth life. You enjoy traveling, you enjoy food, you enjoy other humans, even if they can be too much sometimes, but you do enjoy the general energy of people that you vibe with, if I can put it that way. So you did come here for the experiences, but you also came to help humanity in many ways. It's kind of like as you learn to connect technology, science, and physical experiences that you're having with more higher dimensional and spiritual aspects, as you learn those things, you will also teach that to others. And you will help bring technology to the world with help. You're not going to do it alone. You definitely have got some, higher dimensional beings that are in your field that want to help you and give you certain tools and help you develop them and help you also remember what skills you actually already have, but you've just forgotten about them. So that remembering, that's kind of part of the earth walk here, is remembering what your skills really are. And and then teaching it to others as well. Not necessarily in a classroom format, but nonetheless, mentoring and teaching others. And you also came here to experience life with your soul group and your soul family. You all kind of balance each other out and came here to have experiences together. Then in terms of your highlights of your soul, I don't want to give too much away because otherwise you might not enjoy the journey that much. But I do want to let you know that there's some advancements, not only in this lifetime, but in future lifetimes, if you're looking at a linear timeline, that you are going to be a big part of. And of course, you'll be working on teams, not only in a spiritual, higher dimensional sense, but also with other physical people or beings. Okay, and as I said, the time of disclosure, as Michelle said, the time of disclosure is soon. More and more people will start accepting and understanding that extraterrestrials and other races do exist. More and more people will start understanding that many of the spirit guides that they have are actually beings, extraterrestrials that are alive and well. And many people will start understanding and accepting that time is not actually linear at all. So they will start understanding that everything's actually happening simultaneously. And in that sense, Melo, as you start connecting with your future self, or a few different aspects, and also some of your past selves, right? You're going to start using the resources from those different lives in this life. So that's kind of a big deal, and it's what many humans will learn to do. But in your field, you're going to make a big difference to Africa and South Africa. The whole continent, and it will spread. It will kind of go up, sort of to the Middle East, and maybe influence a bit of Europe as well. It will spread out like that, kind of like. Okay, so. But I don't want to give you too much information, because you do have to figure it out a little bit. You do have to learn by going on the journey, if I can put it that way. So definitely science and technology is big, but also really learning to manipulate energy.
Great, thank you. Lisa has a bit of a follow-up question to the blockages that you spoke about. So she says she is seeing a counselor at the moment, because that's one of the things that you mentioned, and you also mentioned connect to higher self. So she's asking, can you remind me how to rid myself of the blockages? So she's mentioned those two that you said. Are there any others she can use?
Any kind of modality or a healer or anyone like that can help you to clear karmic blockages. Like Michelle does the compassion key. There are other people that do access bars. There's a few different ways to clear those programs and blockages. For you, energy work will be great, but energy work's not always permanent, because certain blockages will keep bringing that energy back. So this is what a lot of people find, is when they are they go, let's say, for a energy healing, a Reiki session, or whatever it may be, and they feel amazing and clear and wonderful, and then but that program's still running. So because that program's still running, it's going to bring the stuff back again. So kind of think about it as someone who's got high cholesterol. Okay, this person's got high cholesterol. They're getting calcification in their arteries. They're getting, they're starting to get all kinds of health issues. And now they're given this amazing special medicine, and it clears it all out, and they're all clear. Or maybe they do some energy work and it's all clear, whatever the case may be. But they continue to eat the same stuff that's causing the problems. Okay? What's going to happen? It's just going to come right back. Okay, so really clearing at that karmic layer is what you need to do, in whichever modality resonates with you. But that is what I advise. So that's the karmic level, really just means the soul level, really clearing on the higher self level. And your higher self, whichever modality you choose, the higher self's the one that's going to guide you and assist you and get you through that. So getting in line with your higher self and communicating with your higher self and getting to know your higher self, so that you know either which modalities to do, or perhaps your higher self has the answers for you. Perhaps it's something you can do on your own, depending on what blockages it is. So, yeah, that's what I would suggest.
Great, thank you. Mela also says thank you. And then Maria's got a question.
Yes.
So Maria asks, before I reincarnated here, in the between lives phase, what soul contracts have been made that has or is going to affect my life the most? And why did my soul want to make them?
Okay, so I'm going to start with the last question first. Your soul wanted to make them so that your soul can grow. That's the purpose. And part of growing in this lifetime for you is clearing the blockages that your soul's been sitting with for many lifetimes. Okay, so in order to clear the blockages, the gunk has to come out. So think of it when you need to clear a drain. Okay, there's a huge blockage in the drain, and now you use that plunger. You might use some other things to loosen things up, like chemicals or vinegar and bicarb. And then you might need to use the plunger to get that gunk out. Okay? The gunk has to come out. It has to be cleared out. Does it make sense? But it can't come out if you don't get it out. You have to actually see it. Does it make sense? Okay, so it's not just you're doing like something and then it kind of flushes it out the bottom. You never see the ugly stuff. The ugly stuff has to come out. That's kind of what has to happen. Sometimes the blockage can be flushed out, certainly, but more times than not, it is something that you have to be faced with. You have to see it, and then you can go, gross. Okay, well, there's the problem. At least now we're going to get rid of it, throw it away. Awesome. The drain's not blocked anymore. It's working. So that's one of the things that you came to address here is using certain experiences, and they might feel really huge to you, but actually they're not as bad as you think because you haven't had other experiences like that, if that makes sense. So they might seem bigger, they might feel bigger, and also because you're a very, very sensitive person, so they might feel bigger than they actually are. But those catalysts, you chose most of them. Okay. Just so that you can clear those blockages and clear your field of what doesn't serve you. Okay, your soul, one of the reasons your soul came here is to teach others and heal others through your teaching. But in order to get there, in order to get to that space, your soul needs to heal. Your soul wants to heal. It wants all of those things to be sorted out and cleared out so that you can do what you came here to do. You're very passionate about that. So yes, and yes, there's going to be a few other events that's going to happen. There might be, one or two more heartbreaks. I don't want to be too specific because if I'm too specific, you might try and control what's going to happen in your life, and that's really not the key. That's not the point. The point is just to accept what comes and go with the flow, right? So, yes, there's going to be a few life events that might throw you and might feel like the end of the world even, but they won't be the end of the world. So when you get there, this is my advice to you. When those things happen where you feel like, well, life can't get any worse and, woe is me and, I want to throw myself off the edge of a cliff and I want to climb in my bed and cover myself and never come out again. When those things come up, I want to encourage you, and I'm going to make sure that you remember this at this time. So I'm programming this into you, okay? And that is that when the time comes, you're going to remember that it's not so bad, that it's not the end of your world, it's not the end of your life. It's just a stepping stone. It's just a stepping stone, and it's going to clear the way. It's busy clearing a blockage. You're becoming aware so that you can clear it, so that you can open up that energy for what you need to do, for what's good, letting the good come in. So be encouraged when it happens. Almost see it as I'm in pain. Oh, wait a minute. Doesn't that mean that something good's coming? Yay! Okay. Hope that makes sense.
Great, thank you. All right, well, we're basically out of time for tonight, and Maria says it makes sense. Thank you. Okay, thank you for joining us.
Anthony, don't you have any more questions? You have one more question.
I have a long drawn out question, but sure, I can ask it if you're happy to stay for a bit longer.
Okay, one more question, everyone.
Okay, so my question, you mentioned earlier that you are good with space, time, space, time, whatever the words you use. So I want to ask you if you could explain a bit about time in terms of what time is, how do I phrase this? Basically what time is, but in what are we not understanding as humans on the planet at the moment about time?
What humans don't understand about time is that time is malleable. And this is difficult for humans to understand because humans are so, this collective, this human collective is so bound by the rules of time and this space. So it's not to say time doesn't exist, Many species, not only humans, have got to deal with time, but not in the way, most of them aren't as tied down by it as humans are. But just so that you know humanity, you will all start learning. There's already space travelers among you and time travelers among you. So the technology is there, okay? And then in terms of spirituality, you can travel to any point in time and space through your higher dimensional and meditational work, journeys, all of those things, they all count. If you're busy working with the past life and clearing blockages, you're actually moving into that space-time and working there and manipulating there. Even if it doesn't feel as strong and real as right now in this reality. But then remember, many higher dimensional beings, like the ancients, don't have a very dense physical form. So that is kind of what it's like. But the most important thing to understand really is that time is malleable. It's malleable. It really is like a fabric. That is the closest analogy. That analogy works. It's like fabric. It can bend. And as soon as people start understanding that, the quantum physicists and astrophysicists, and those people, they already understand this. They've gotten a lot of technology and information from other higher dimensional and extraterrestrial races, much, much more highly advanced races. So they already have that information, and it will become clear to the human collective in scientific terms, in layman's terms. It will become a much more common thing to understand, because if you start space traveling, you will also become a time traveler. Space and time are almost the same thing. It's kind of like two sides of a piece of paper or fabric that you can bend. So space and time is connected. You can't separate them. So do understand that, okay? And this is also why they don't focus so much on, the higher advanced races are not concerned with how fast their crafts go. Of course, it can go really fast, but they don't have to go beyond the speed of light. That's not the most efficient way to travel. The most efficient way to travel is through wormholes and jump gates and, blinking in and out, bending space and time like I can. So that's really the easiest way I can put it for you in terms that you can understand right now. You're welcome to ask a clarifying question.
I guess my clarifying question is time very different for us here on Earth than for other beings outside of the Earth?
It depends on which beings you're talking about. The multiverse is huge and wide.
I guess the beings that would be in third density or even fifth density.
The ones that are more in line with you, perhaps?
Yes.
Or in terms of perhaps your level of advancement and, where you sort of are.
Yes, in terms of our thinking, our density. I think that I personally believe that the densities have something to do with how you experience time. So.
It certainly does. You're quite right about that. And as you know, you are in this construct right now, this sort of imposed additional matrix. Because look,
Yes.
the matrix exists everywhere, people. It's even in 5D, it's even in higher dimensions or higher densities. There's always going to be a matrix, but those matrices are natural ones. And the Earth has its own natural matrix, because it's kind of like everything's like a hologram almost. And that's also part of the space-time thing, understanding that things are actually holographic. And that's why it's malleable, and that's why you can manipulate it. And that's why even with manifestation, you can manipulate things, okay? Because you can break things down into their bare components and remake them, so to speak. You just need to practice and believe anything's possible and realize that you are limitless beings, okay? That's how you transcend that. So really, getting back to what you said, it is kind of like, I'm trying to find words that Michelle has in her capacity, and that also can be understood by everybody, but it's a little bit tricky to explain it. It's kind of like how there's different parts of mass. So you've got liquid, gas, and solid. So it's kind of like that. So if you think about densities in that way, as you know, you can manipulate, you can certainly manipulate ice, and you can certainly manipulate steam, for example, if we're talking about the parts of water. But the one that flows the easiest, or can go everywhere, or can connect with everything easier, is flowing water, right? But they all have their benefits, and they all have their specific characteristics, and they kind of change completely in a way. Do you know what I mean? It's all water, but all the states of the water are different. And it changes properties. So it's in that same way. So in this density, it's kind of more like in ice. The water, or the time space, is still the same. It has the same properties. It has the same components. It's still water is still water, right? But because of this density, it's not as malleable. It's not as easy to manipulate it. You have to first learn how to bring the temperature up, or raise your vibrations, or whatever you need to do to get it to a different state. Okay. And even gas, it can kind of go everywhere, but it can also evaporate. So there's always a balance as well. And there's a reason why there are people in charge of time travel, and why, especially here on Earth, because people on Earth are cowboys. They're cowboys. They're crazy. They will just do anything, try anything, and not always for the best reasons, There's unfortunately a lot of greed and so on, because of the programming that's imposed here in keeping people enslaved. So yes, there's a reason why everybody can't just do it, and that's because there's a certain group that are in charge of that on this plane, and they're very careful about who's doing what and who's manipulating time, and they're really keeping an eye on everything. So there's a good reason, it's kind of for your safety, that you can't just all go and bend time and space. That's not to say that if you are doing it with pure intentions, that it's not possible for you. But there are certain rules that you need to adhere to if you're going to start playing with that. There are certain guidelines that you shouldn't mess with, because you can really mess things up in a bad way. Okay, it can have good outcomes, and it can have really disastrous outcomes as well.
Okay, I think one last practical question from my side. Is there some sort of standard measurement of time out in the galaxy, the universe? Because here on Earth, we're obviously using it because we rotate around our sun, and so that's how our time comes from. The 1 day is 24 hours kind of thing. Is there some kind of standard out there that people use?
Many different worlds have got their own version of Earth's time. Some of them have got a very similar version. But you see, when you're out there, it's hard to get a universal. So yes, there is actually, and it's kind of written in code. It's the best way I can describe it. It's code. It's coding. So it's like hieroglyphics, and if you had to look at it, it would look like the Matrix, you know, it's like a bunch of codes and these funny little hieroglyphs and da da da. So it's kind of like a code, a construct that can be manipulated and folded and so on. But it's also kind of like geometric. So it's the same way if you were a programmer and you were programming, let's say, a 3D animation. If you were going into the code and looking at it, you need to manipulate shadows, textures, lighting, you know, and then it creates that 3D model, which, as many of you know, those of you that are into 3D, it's kind of got that grid sort of, the raw part of it. It's kind of like a grid that folds around that shape. And that's kind of what space-time is like. And it's kind of like, it's even how it's connected to how things come into physical form. It's connected to that as well. Because all that DNA and molecules and all those things, those are all building blocks and components. And everything's written into your DNA. The history of your soul is in your DNA. I wonder if you knew that. So it's all coding. Your DNA is coding. And that happens on a small scale like DNA, and it happens on a bigger scale. So yeah, I hope that makes it a little bit more clearer to you.
Wow,
it's very complicated.
Muddied the waters quite a bit, but thank you. It's fantastic.
Yes, it is a little bit of a complicated thing. So yes, a standard measurement of time. Yes, but it's a little bit hard to understand for those that are not versed in the science.
Okay, no problem. Great, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It was so much fun. You guys asked great questions, and I absolutely loved being here tonight. And I hope I can come through again. This has been really, really fantastic. And yes, good questions, good energy. And you guys go take care of yourself. Hey, don't forget what's important. Okay, don't forget what's important. Remember who you are, you know, get in touch with yourself. Because when you get in touch with yourself and get into that 0 point energy field, you're going to feel your connection to everyone. Okay, we're all connected.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Whew.
I'll come back.
Oh, it was fun. That was fun. He's fun.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm going to get him back again. He was fun. Thank you, Bashar, for coming through and answering all of those questions. I really enjoyed that. Thank you, guys, for asking all these wonderful questions. Elise, that's great. I'm glad you came across it by accident. I don't think it was by accident at all, actually. It's one of the intentions that I set. I asked that everybody who needs to see this will see it. So I feel like you needed to see it. It's every week, every Monday night at 8 p.m. I will put on social media if there is something happening, like if I get sick or something, but I think that's only happened twice in this whole year. So it's not, I'm here every Monday at 8 p.m. And even when there's load shedding, I don't know, I don't know which country you're in, but in South Africa, we have load shedding. And sometimes we don't have electricity, but we make a plan and we do what we need to do. And I'm here. Yeah, and please, if you enjoyed this and you want to see more of this, you want to support me, you're welcome to contribute if you feel the need to do so. And please subscribe to my channel, share it with everybody that you think will benefit from it or enjoy it. Yeah, it helps me to keep going and doing my work. So thank you very much. Love you guys.
This is asking about your social media.
Oh yes, UK, but lived in Cape Town. Yeah, okay. So I'm in Cape Town. That's right. Thank you, Melo. Yeah, so my details, I can't remember how YouTube works. I'm on all the social media. I'm focusing on TikTok and YouTube. I've been told that video is the medium that I need to utilize as much as possible. But I am on all other social media. Just type my name, Michelle Sitgood, you should find me. And so my email address will be on one of those, but I can definitely type it in for you into the chat box. It's just talk to me at michellesitgood.com. Okay, did I type that correctly? Yeah. All right, so you're welcome to. And my website's michellesitgood.com. So all my information is on my website. I don't know why I didn't think about that first. All my information's on my website. Yeah. So, okay, great. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
See you next week. You're welcome.